I'm told that actually Major Garrett, stand by, Major Garrett is with Donald Trump. Let's go ahead and take a listen.
Mr. Trump, first of all, you said about a third of the way into the debate you were surprised how civil it was. What was the atmospherics like on the stage? How did it feel differently tonight, and why do you think it was different?
I thought it was very civil. I thought it was an elegant debate, very substantive, and I felt very good about the debate. I think we did well, but it was very different from the shouting matches, which has.
What does that tell you about Ted Cruz's and Marco Rubio's strategy?
Well, I think the strategy is fine. I think we needed that. I think, frankly, the Republican Party needed a debate just like that.
Why?
It's been, well, because we were very, very much on issue tonight and less on fighting. And I think it was a good thing. I felt very good about it, and we're getting very good marks. We're getting very high marks.
You often tell me, though, you like a good fight.
I do like a good fight. Frankly, the others are probably more exciting, and they're probably more fun, and they're probably more fun for the audience. But I think it was time that we had a debate like this.
On the issue of Islam and its attitude toward the West, you said you believe, if I heard you right tonight, most people in the Islamic faith.
I didn't say most.
What do you feel?
I just said.
Break that down for Americans?
I don't want to break it down. I just say there's great hatred, pure and simple. There's great hatred. I didn't say most. I didn't say least. I just said there is great hatred. Now,
and as a commander-in-chief, how do you figure that out?
People can be politically correct and say, "Oh no, it doesn't exist." The fact is, there is great dislike. There is great hatred, and it's a sad thing, but it's there.
As commander-in-chief, how do you deal with that? How do you, in your words, solve the problem, figure out what's going on?
I will figure it out because I find a way to figure everything out. Thank you, man.
Everything out?
Pretty much.
Everything?
Pretty much. Close.
Well, there you have it, Elaine.
All right, so Major...
He figures everything out.
Yeah, okay, so Major, just looking quickly at the log that I have anyway, the answer he gave to the question from Jake Tapper, last night you told CNN, quote, Islam hates us. Did you mean all 1.6 billion Muslims? He said, I mean a lot of them. I mean a lot of them. And when asked several times to clarify, he didn't back away from that. So you were essentially correct in the characterization there. A lot of them, a lot of them. So Major, tell us about his comportment with you just now. What seemed different to you than other times that you've interviewed him post-debate? Because that was a very quick conversation you just had.
Quick conversation, but that's not unusual. We've had quick conversations before. It was mellow. Just as he was on stage, he was here. Sometimes when Donald Trump comes in the spin room, he's very fired up, very much of the moment. And I think what you saw on the debate stage is sort of carrying over into the spin room. He said it was a substantive debate, much quieter, much less exciting, much less rancorous. All that's certainly true. And maybe there is an adrenaline rush that comes from that kind of verbal jousting. I don't know. I've never been through it. But I would just say Trump was a little bit quieter, decided that it was a good idea for the Republican Party to have a substantive debate, didn't really want to engage on what the strategy was for Cruz and Rubio. I guess he's leaving that to us, and we've got plenty of opinions on that. And also, it struck me that for him, he wasn't really interested in having a sustained conversation about Islam and the West. As much as he said tonight and sort of reinforced and went with what he originally said, that's not an idea he wants to spend a lot of time talking about. And when I think the question I put to him, as commander-in-chief, how do you figure this out? I figure everything out. Well, okay. That's an answer that many Americans may find acceptable, but I guarantee you, and we saw this tonight on the debate stage, it's one of the things that frustrates Rubio and Cruz when they talk about Donald Trump's answers and say they lack not only specificity, but any practical application from the point of view of presidential power. That answer, I figure everything out, fits exactly into that same category. Yet voters continue to respond to it. But those with some experience, legislatively and otherwise, in Washington, keep asking themselves, why do people buy this when it's so completely at odds with the underlying powers of the presidency or the way you communicate means to solve problems as a president? So I would offer that.
Let me turn to Rick Davis in Washington. Rick, what is your take on what you just heard there, the conversation that Major had, what Major said there about the fact that Donald Trump certainly didn't want to dwell on the conversation about Islam?
Well, I mean, I don't think it thinks it's a winning issue at all. I think he probably feels like he exhausted all his patience and knowledge about the topic, on the debate floor.
But he didn't back away, I guess. As you pointed out
Well, he's
during
not
the
going to
debate.
back away. I mean, it's a winning issue for him, right? He's going to say, oh, there are people who are Muslims, Islamic faith, who hate us. Well, no kidding. And 99.9% of his supporters are going to go, yeah, Donald, tell him the truth. That's what we want to hear. I mean, this idea that somehow this is going to hurt him is like the idea that Mitt Romney attacks him and somehow that's going to hurt him. It's exactly what he wants people to talk about. I mean, this is actually how he embeds his support. Now, the thing we all have to remember, and I think it's being missed in this whole discussion tonight, is he only has a minority of the party supporting him. It's not the Republican Party throwing in for Donald Trump. He's capped out at about 40%. He's not exceeding that. He's not adding people to his base. He isn't collecting the votes of those candidates who are failing and dropping out. And he's highly unlikely to collect any of the support of the candidates who likely will not make it past Tuesday, which is probably Kasich and Rubio. So I think we got to keep it in the context that we are on the verge, frankly, because of the, I think, selfishness of the candidates who are staying in the race and not unifying the opposition around somebody. They're going to give the nomination to him because he's on track to collect up enough delegates that even if it gets to a one-on-one race, it's too late. And I think the combination of the way the schedule was manipulated by the RNC and the lack of foresight by the candidates who are still in the race is the greatest strategy that Donald Trump has going. And he hasn't done a thing to earn it.